minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Spaceboy Universe, featuring Spaceboy and the lovely Solana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Spaceboy, and across from me is the lovely Solana, and we are broadcasting live for Spaceboy Universe. That's right, Spaceboy Universe, live in our living room. That's correct. It is Cinco de Mayo, so happy Cinco de Mayo for those people who love good Mexican food, because we had some today and it was quite delicious. So, it is what it is. Tonight is another round of Topic Roulette, and as always, it should prove to be interesting. As always, you can follow us on Twitter. That's at the SBU Universe. Follow Solana at Solana. Follow me, that's Spaceboy at Spaceboy Music. Of course, follow the network that brings you the fine programming that you hear on a fairly weekly basis, and that's at the SBU Network. I know I got to retype this thing. It's convoluted. Remember to hashtag your tweets tonight with hashtag SBU Universe and hashtag Space Cadets. Hey, you want to hang out with them Space Cadets? They would love for you to hang out with them. Go to spaceboyuniverse.com and click the dancing chat bubble, and that will get you in with all the cool kids. In addition to Twitter, that is, you can find the universe on Facebook, Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, iHeartMedia. Just look for Spaceboy Universe. Speaking of YouTube, you can find more than the Spaceboy archive of shows. That is right. There is video content from Spaceboy Music, video interviews, 2-Bit Gamers, and so much more. It's your duty as a Space Cadet to get on over there and subscribe and click that dang bell so you know when there's something new there. So there, I've said it. Can't catch the show live? No problemo. Take the show on the road with you via Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, and iHeartMedia. And on that magical note, I'll turn to the lovely Solana from my recliner to ask, how are you tonight?
I'm impressed with how you sound. You sound normal, and I know the real deal. Mm-hmm. It wasn't, but an hour or so ago, you were in screaming pain.
Yeah.
Again.
Well, I guess the only way to put it is I was a dumbass. And what happened is we got out of the house. Well, that's exciting for me after being locked up in this house for the majority of the past week. And we went to Hobby Lobby because we had to acquire paint for shirts that we're making for ComicPalooza. And I was really looking for this printer device at Hobby Lobby, and they didn't have it there. But I said, since we're here, let's just get the correct paint and be done with it. And then, of course, by the time we got out of Hobby Lobby, I was in immense pain from my shoulder. I mean, the tendonitis is not going anywhere anytime fast, but I should have not tried to jerk the basket out of the chain of baskets.
You're trying to do too much too soon, and I don't think you even realize what you're doing. And I think you need to buy yourself a sling and immobilize your entire left arm so you'll know not to use it.
Well, I agree with you because, I guess okay, so this whole week, play-by-play. Beginning of the week of last week, that is, my arm was aching and I thought it was, I just pulled the muscle, no big deal. And then the next day it was like, okay, big deal because this is starting to bother me. And then Wednesday, I ended up leaving work early and came home. And then we eventually went to the ER on that. They prescribed some medication. And that, I guess, was kind of, it really didn't, it's amazing the amount of medications that I've gotten of different kinds to try to resolve the issue or to eliminate the issue.
Yes, and I said, look, don't get rid of these. Hang on to them for a while because we could have a party.
So anyway, I guess eventually what I ended up doing was I've been in communication with my personal doctor, and he recommended me to take 4 Advils in the morning and 4 in the evening, and let him know how I felt. Well, talk about a miracle drug, because the Advils helped me with the pain and everything, and the pain felt like it practically went away. It was like a gift from God kind of situation. And so, but, these things, I don't know. I guess from out of nowhere, I started growing this abscess on the back of my neck. And it got bigger and bigger to the size of, like, if you split an egg in half, a hard-boiled egg, that's how big it was. And then I started getting pain from that, and so I ended up going back to the ER for that. And I told Solana, I just said, look, let's just go, because at least if they cut it open, they can drain all the ick out. And
it doesn't matter, but I'm the one that said, let's get up and go, and I'm gonna have them slice your neck open.
Well, I had already planned on doing it anyway, but you just validated my plans anyway. So we got there. Oh, and let me tell you, one, I have had the pain of all pains this past week. One ranging from my back to the point it was debilitating, and 2, the pain when they stuck a needle into my back of my neck to numb it. And then the needle part didn't hurt as bad. It was when they injected the crap into my neck.
It burns.
It burned like crazy. And I practically wanted to, what is the side of the bed that they put up that
the railings you hold on to?
I felt like I was about to rip the railing right off its
Yeah.
it's how bad it was.
You and I were the only people. It was like between 1 and 2 a.m. and we were the only 2 human beings in that ER clinic besides the staff, which is good because everybody could have heard you. So it means this place was in a strip mall, so everything around it was closed. There was nobody else but the staff and you and I. So I'm pretty sure they might have heard you like 5 miles away.
Well, I did one of those.
I don't blame you.
Steve Carell moments when he ripped his hair off his chest, and but
when same thing happened to me in the 90s, and my parents had to take me to an outpatient day surgeon. I had a thing that couldn't, just like you, it was so far gone with an infection. They sliced me open and they could not numb. They said, even if we gave you numbing, it's so far, gone, you're just going to feel it. So I had it without any numbing, and they made a big X in the back of my shoulder to start draining it, and I started seeing black spots. I was about to pass out.
Well, it was like I was telling you when he did the injection. I felt like my heart was going to just jump out of my chest. It was just beating so hard, and I felt so sick to death. Probably because of the pain. I've had back surgery before. I've had my L4 and L5 fused together. I had 2 herniated discs and went through all that, and that was painful. But nothing has compared to the pain that I've had to endure this past week. And I don't. How can I say this? I'm not a man that cries at everything. Maybe lately so more because I'm getting old, and whenever Sarah McLachlan comes on, I turn off the TV so I don't have to hear the song of an angel anymore. But yeah, this pain has been so intense. I've had to shed little tears here and there, but painful, very painful. Yeah. Oh, and which reminds me, there's a lot of people out there that congratulations, you're not on my bad list, you're on my good list, and I can't thank. I can thank you enough. In the whole universe of your well wishes to me. And
the ones that are not on the good list, he knows exactly who you are, and he's never, ever going to forget.
I don't. Tell him I don't. Do I forget?
We know who you are. We know what you're not saying.
You at least could be supportive in some way, but I know that sounds terrible, like, hey, I expect you to say something nice. No, it's not like that. But it just makes me feel good to know that, our usual people like Yeg, Bev, and Bob, to name a few handful of people, it goes much further than that.
But we're not bitter.
So you say. But just thank you for your well wishes, your positive energy. And
the ones who didn't, you're going to get yours one day.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how that goes down sometime. But so yeah, that's been the scope. So I go back to work Monday.
It's been stressful for you. Stressful for me, but I'm hoping we're going to get through this. I know one of your issues is going to clear up, given the amount of antibiotics you're on, crazy amount of antibiotics you're on. It's a shame you couldn't have steroids, so that would have really shrunk those tissues really quickly. That would have helped both your issues.
But yeah, I'm, it's good that I just didn't want them to have to repack it. And
yeah, you did really well. It's healing. They didn't have to repack it and let it absorb more of that, and it's looking healthy and pink. I mean, you've got a sizable divot in the back of your neck, like some alien creature opened up the back of your neck and just made a huge injection. So,
I made a joke about that too to Solaris, that telling her they didn't plant an alien implant in my, or an AI chip in there.
Before we go to bed, I'm gonna take that off and I'm gonna look at it and see what's going on. And if it's still oozing, I'll put another Band-Aid on it. But so it's been wound care and pain and suffering and hardship and
trying to get well, because you know what's at the end of this month, Solana?
Oh, yes.
Well, let me play it.
Hey, Spaceboy. What makes ComicPalooza the largest pop cultural festival in Texas?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Solana, because it's an event with over 2,000 hours of entertaining activities and over 1.2 million square feet of event space at the George R. Brown Convention Center here in Houston, Texas. In addition, with 2018 being ComicPalooza's 10th anniversary, we're expecting this to be the best show to date.
And it all takes place May 25th through May 27th, and attendees will have access to sessions that will cover popular trends, even obscure topics, a film festival, gaming competitions, cosplay contests, a live art auction, and so much more. The exhibit hall will be filled with specialty retailers for comics, popular artists, and exciting games. Also, Houston Makerspace will be there, along with NASA's showcasing their innovative technologies, and there will be a kids area that will be both fun and educational.
There also will be celebrity guests from your favorite movies, television series, comics, and literature to answer your questions and share their stories. They will engage the audience with Q&A session, sign autographs, and take photographs with the fans.
So which celebrities are going to be there?
Well, there's going to be quite a few, Solana, but just to name a few off the top of my head, there's Tom Holland, Kristen Ritter, Charlie Cox, Patrick Warburton, Jerry Ryan, Brent Spiner, and so many more celebrity guests.
So you want to know more, you need to go to ComicPalooza.com and get your passes today.
ComicPalooza 2018, 10th anniversary, Houston, Texas. Be there.
Yep, be there because we will, unless for some reason I get in a car accident and lose a leg or something. And but that is the hope that this at the end of this month we'll be there at ComicPalooza doing our thing, and it's going to be fun, right, Solana?
It is. In fact, I'm trying to take care of a little business related to that right now. So if I seem distracted, it's because I'm trying to do two things at once in order to
live up to our
commitment,
our commitment
with ComicPalooza, because you know why? We are going to be part of the official ComicPalooza podcasting area. I don't know enough details at the moment to kind of explain it to you, but when I do, if we find out before then, I will let you know, but it's going to be super duper cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we'll get exclusive interviews and get to talk to other podcasters and learn about their skills and their crafts, and maybe out of all this we'll get new interviews coming your way in the coming year here.
Hopefully.
So, but yeah, once again, just going over the illness thing and all that good stuff. I am making headway to getting better, which I'm hoping the next week or so I'll be my normal self. I just got to, pace myself, don't overexert myself, it's just I've had such the weirdest year this year so far. Beginning of the year, I had this affliction of some allergy crap that I got, and it was like a month and a half of me doing the cough thing, and I'm sure y'all all remember me trying to work my way through that, and and then I guess, what was it? I guess sometime after that, I just was feeling nauseated all the time, and then here comes May, right at the end of April, beginning of May, you get this started with the shoulder thing, which I'm sure I know I pulled my shoulder in the wrong way, and it seemed like it started with, what can I say, like a pulled muscle, but I might have done more than that to give me the tendonitis in my rotator cuff. But it's not like okay. I realize that I'm not in my 20s anymore, and this isn't the 90s. And, I'm not out there like I'm partying or anything like it's 1999. But the thing is that, occasionally I say, yeah, I can do that. And really the reality is that, no, you can't. You should get some young apprentice to do that for you. And that, so... that's what it usually comes down to. Is this? I'm facing that 5-0 that I'm not as spry as I used to be.
I'm sorry. I'm still doing
my
secretarial work here.
How much more you got over there?
I'm sorry. I'll try to do this during the break. So.
We still got a little bit towards the break.
So what's going on here? I just found out that NASA's InSight lander successfully launches its way to Mars. It's on a 6-month journey to the Red Planet.
Yeah.
And it's going to see what's behind the quakes. I guess there's quake activity.
Mars quakes?
Yeah, Mars quakes. So it's a main point is to it's going to be, there's a spacecraft that's along for the ride. It's got 2 satellites the size of cereal boxes. It's a rocket, and
isn't this the one where those 2 cereal box size satellites?
I just said that.
Well, hold on.
I'm not listening.
But I am listening. You just never let me finish. Now let me finish. You ready for me to finish the other part?
I'm going to go back and do another stuff.
The thing is that there were supposed to be some 2 satellites, very small satellites, to help improve the communications back to Earth, because the way communications are currently, to broadcast to Mars and back is about 35-ish minutes.
Yeah.
So you send a message, you have to wait 35 minutes for the other side to receive it, and then you wait whatever they're going to say, and then send it back. So you're looking at at the most an hour and a half. And so, are those satellites that you just spoke of the satellites that I'm mentioning?
I think so.
Okay, we'll have to do a follow-up on that because I think that's fascinating. If we could get closer to real-time communication with Mars, that's a game changer right there. Because real-time control of Mars rovers and things like that. They would actually drive them in the opposite direction of Cydonia. So it's all I could say for that right now.
Indeed. Sorry, I'm still trying to do this stuff. Anyway.
I mean, I thought you were going to wait.
I didn't know that there was going to be another thing to Mars. Its little spacecraft will listen for quakes to figure out what Mars is made of. Mm-hmm. And pardon my crappy, jaded attitude, but like, big whoop. It's not the things we want to know. What we want to know. We already know that Barry and Bashago have been buddies and traveled to Mars, and, what's up with that, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm like you. I have, going back to the Art Bell thing, over the many years in the early 90s when Art had Richard Hoagland on his broadcast, talking about the pyramids on Mars and ancient civilizations, and then the more recent things of Mike Barra talking about, we have water on Mars and ancient civilizations, and then now you've got all these people who, hey, that looks like a turret, and hey, that looks like a person kneeling down, and then you've got people saying, oh, that's just your mind playing tricks on the scenery to make you think you're seeing something that you're not. Quite. I'm getting tired of that crap. Yeah, exactly. I mean, who is not? Come on, people in the paranormal community, or the fringe community. Aren't you a little bit tired of hearing all that crap? Pareidolia. Yeah, exactly. And I just like, let's put this to rest. Land a lander right in Cydonia, where Richard Hoagland has said these pyramids are, and let's put an end to it. You're willing to put 15 other rovers in different directions, but you can't take one of those missions, and that would seem like it would be a very popular mission. It might boost people's morale and thinking, hey, wow, this is cool. We're going to actually look at this. It could bring some good attention to NASA, but no, they choose not to do that. Is that because of the secret space fleet and the space command that they've got in space? I don't know. It could be that those people are trying to pull the strings, to pull the wool over our eyes. We all know that there is some elite group of people out there that are trying to hide the truth. Okay, you're people my age. You've been taught that that knowing is half the battle, and so if you don't know what the battle is all about, then you're just going to be in the dark the whole time, and I will forgive you for now. Muffin, hush. And because the cat is roaming around, because we're on location in our living room, and so how do we sound? Do we sound okay? Everything cool? Reaching out to our space cadets in the chat room and seeing what they say. But, so I might be a little bit cantankerous tonight because, of all the edginess I've been through lately. But, I agree with you, Bev. The government, or is it the secret government? One can only imagine what it can be. It's like a conversation, and we're about to hit the bottom of the hour break, is that, Solana has been wanting to do a thing on the Denver airport. And, it's a fascinating subject because why the heck do you need 54 square miles for an airport? I mean, that alone is pretty crazy. And then when you factor in, things at the airport like
the gargoyles that coming out of suitcases, the murals that are painted where it has death and destruction. The Freemasonry that's behind the building of the facilities, and then you've got all these underground. I forgot how far underground they built, but it was significant. And then, then somebody has to get really nutty here and draw some kind of a gray alien in chalk line on one of the walls deep within these tunnels. So, and it's not the first time we haven't heard about aliens in tunnels and caves, let's not forget, what was that episode? The gentleman that got his chest blown and lost a few fingers. I'm talking to you, Solana. This is the bad thing about you having your back to me.
Yeah. Lost fingers.
Yeah, you remember he went down in that cave. He was an engineer. He was drilling holes for a living, and
you're talking about Phil.
Well, not Spectre, because that'll be because
Phil.
Gosh,
what's that guy's name?
Man, I cannot believe it. Get on a rant, and I can't even remember. Phil Schneider. There we go. For some reason, I was thinking one day at a time, to be honest with you, and to try to remember his name, and I couldn't. So anyway, but that incident is crazy, about him being lowered down and into a hole, and all of a sudden he finds out there's aliens down there.
That was a crazy story.
They used some kind of energy weapon coming off their chest, and it hit him, and it kind of like opened him up and blew away some of his fingers. And but I guess there was a commando with him or whatever, sent him back up while he continued the fight. But yeah, that story is just totally fascinating, but not as fascinating as the fact that they found him dead, and the way he died
was really janky and suspicious.
Exactly, because they were saying he committed suicide, but the way his neck was strangled and everything is like, how does a man do something like that to end his own life? And it's just amazed me, because the man was going out there making speeches left and right, and about his time making the tunnels, and then when he would talk straightforward about the incident, and then you could see his hand, he was missing fingers. But yeah, it's related to the Dulce bass. You're absolutely right, Yeg. You get a star tonight. I'm giving stars tonight, so if you call, or you can't call, but you mentioned something in the chat room, I'll give you a star. But speaking of stars, we have to play this thing called a break, so that Solana can get finished with whatever she's trying to get finished over there, and give you, the audience, your full undivided attention. So,
well, I'm on a time crunch.
Yes.
Sorry.
So time crunch it is. We'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Solana.
This is author Gordon Root. You are listening to the Spaceboy Universe.
This is K28, and I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hi, y'all. This is Lori calling from Texas, and I love listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, this is Dave Cruz, host of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
This is Wendy. I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, y'all. This is Lorelai DeLille. I listen to Spaceboy Universe. Don't you? Tell your mom and them I said hi.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Ronnie.
All right, we're back. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that I am not going to talk to you tonight about the new movie from Marvel. What? I haven't said anything. I said I wouldn't talk about the movie in the sense maybe the story, but you got to hand it to the movie has busted $1 billion in ticket sales worldwide, becoming like the number one movie out there. Of course, I haven't gone to see it yet because, I've had a little difficulties. But, at some point in the near future, it would be sure nice to get out there and see that. Now I've said the fact that I wasn't going to be talking about the Avengers Infinity War, right? But here I'm going to talk about Cinema Blend has co-signed an actor to portray Wolverine in the next Avengers 4 movie.
Weird.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I usually get pretty reliable things from Cinema Blend, and if that is the case, that would be pretty cool. I'm just disappointed that Wolverine hasn't made his way to Deadpool, where that would be epically fantastic to watch. So there you go. Anything over there on your end, Solana?
Yeah. Anybody remember Vine? Vine was just it was a website, and everybody had a Vine they would throw up on, their YouTube channel. And it was really short, quick, homemade videos. And it was wildly successful, and all of a sudden, boom, it's gone. They shut it down. I still don't recall why. Well, there's been rumors for a while that, it's coming back. And I forget who bought it. The co-founder announced something today. It was going to come back as V2. But the co-founder, Dom Hoffman, announced recently, it says today, May 4th, that was yesterday, he announced that this sequel for the video app called V2, tentatively, has been postponed indefinitely because of funding and logistical hurdles. So they posted it on their official Twitter site. So I guess this is disappointing for some people. There hasn't really been an outlet other than maybe Instagram and Snapchat. Now, snaps don't hang around, and they do expire after so many minutes or seconds. But whereas the Vines were always there. So Twitter shut down the original Vines in January of last year, and I forget why.
And that's kind of bizarre because I'm not speaking for you, but Vines was pretty dang funny. Some of them were.
They're still there. They're still there on YouTube. If you go look them up, there's old Vines, and the way they compile them is pretty funny. The way they label these videos, Vines that kept me from committing suicide, stupid things like that. So he says that the long story short is that this project needs to operate as a company with sizable external funding from investors, and it's difficult because he already runs an early stage company that's in the middle of a development. They have very few backers, and it's a solvable problem, but they just, I guess the money and funding is not there yet. So it's kind of sad. I mean, I don't personally care one way or another, but I'm just, they had a product. It seemed like it was great. It seemed like it was popular. It seemed like there was nothing wrong with it, and boom, it's gone. Twitter's like, nope, we're done.
It's just out of nowhere. And, like I said, it had some pretty popular people on there. I think one of the first people I got to watch on there was Brock Baker.
Yeah,
and
his stuff up there.
The man of 1,000 voices, I swear to you. He can imitate just about anybody.
He's good, but I enjoy his voiceover commentary. Like, he did voiceover work for the original 3 Star Wars movies, and it was hysterical. And then he'll voice over snippets of TV shows and award shows, and he's kind of like MST3K or Riff Tracks, and he just makes it better. And my favorite one is he has this bit where he does Angry Man Reads Teen Magazines. That one cracks me up pretty hard. So, yeah. I don't know what he's up to. I haven't checked out his channel in a while, but he did a lot of stuff on Vines. He would do these compilations, so...
Very, very funny stuff. So, yeah.
He's got several channels.
Okay, I'm going to be straight up with you, folks. I wish that there was an alternative to Facebook, a possible alternative to YouTube. It's a shame when you see something like Vine or Vines go away, but trying to make a comeback. Really, it's difficult. I don't know. I see the days counting down to when I'm not going to be doing Facebook anymore because of what we're having to deal with, and it's just I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm just tired of being taken advantage of. If I post something, I want somebody to read it. If I want to subscribe to certain channels, I want to be able to get that because I'm subscribing to them. For me, I subscribe to a lot of things, and when somebody i.e. Facebook blocks those channels because they think it's hate speech or it's this or it's that, it frustrates me because as someone who I like to think I'm close to being what is called a libertarian. I think that anybody should do whatever they want to do, just don't infringe on what I want to do, And I think that there should be a certain basic layer of structure of laws that we should all follow, but they shouldn't infringe on our happiness and all that other things. And people should be able to speak whatever they need to speak without being offended by it. I mean, come on. I'm 40-something years old. I've heard it all. And some of it, I'll put my hand over my mouth and go, ooh. But, I feel like people have the right to say whatever they need to say. And it's important in that sense, because I think that it's, when we hide these people, or when we put these people off in a situation and block what they're saying, we're only encouraging them to go underground. And that's the worst thing, is that you put these people underground, and then, there's this hidden society, if you will, that's out there, and you're not prepared if it rears its head back up, because it can come back 10 times stronger. Anyway, so I did warn you that I might be on a rant tonight. So, it is what it is, Solana.
Yes. I just found an quick little interesting list. I love the site cracked.com. I don't go there as often as I used to, because I used to have less things to do in my life. But now I have too much. So when I can remember to go, I can spend a lot of time on that site. So you know what an Easter egg is when we're talking about film and television, right? Mm-hmm. It's something that's kind of hidden, or it might be in plain sight, but it's not obvious. It's like a little, maybe it's a little visual or audio thing that
it's
you
really,
could miss.
It's kind of like for the hardcore
it's a treasure
movie.
Hunt.
It's
almost.
A treasure hunt, yes.
It's just like a little thing there for you. So I'm looking at this list on Crack. It says 5 movie Easter eggs that are hidden in real life, in the real world. Well, some of them aren't hidden, and some of them are, I guess, on private property. So, number 5, somebody has an actual, if you want to call it actual recreation, friggin' X-Wing in their backyard. That is the ship that, Luke flew to blow up the Death Star. So it's on private property behind someone's house, and it's in Oakton, Virginia. Some enthusiasts have hiked to it to look at it without alerting the owners that they're on their property. This is a small town in Virginia. It's the X1. It's got an R2-D2 sticking out, the back, an R2 road behind him. It's not clear if it's a fan-made replica or an original prop that's being left out into the elements. But it's really strange. I'm looking at it. It's like you can see it on Google Earth. And some people have gotten close and taken photos. So anyway, I think it's interesting. And this I kind of knew. I found this one out recently, number 4. There is a Jason Voorhees body lurking in a Minnesota lake.
Yeah, I saw that one not too long ago, several months ago. But funny you bring it up. But
it's creepy as heck.
Somebody did it in their aquarium. They put a Jason Voorhees model inside their aquarium with their fish.
And freaking out the fish, man.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, so your favorite hockey enthusiast, Undead Murderer, is the character from the Friday the 13th movie franchise. So somebody decided to get down in this lake in Crosby, Minnesota, and put this prop, and it looks like, like a body, it's like Jason Voorhees. It's got the hockey mask on him and everything. So, they did it. It's been there since 2013, and somebody's gone down with scuba gear and done some video footage. You can find this on YouTube. He's starting to look a little waterlogged and gross, but I think that just adds to the authenticity of him being a movie monster,
Right.
So, It's completely, he's down there with his machete. He's anchored down with a chain. It's a reference to the end of Friday the 13th part 4. VI, that's one takeaway.
Wait,
yeah.
VI
Or is it 6? 6, that's right, 6. Roman numerals take me longer. It's like reading an analog clock. So
buffering.
I guess at the end of that movie, he was restrained into the lake. So I just think that's really odd. And if you look at this film, or if you look at the photograph, I don't know what they did with the eyeballs. If they put googly eyes underneath the mask, I don't know what they did, but you can see them in this one particular. I don't like it. It's not good. It's disturbing.
Pretty creepy, huh?
So the third thing that's really not hidden, I mean, you can visit a full recreation of Star Trek original series set in a mall. So if you want to visit the Starship Enterprise, the original one, I guess this would be the bridge and maybe some other stuff.
Well, I had heard that there was, I guess I don't want to call it the experience, but the original bridge and stuff was making its rounds across the United States.
Well, I don't think that this is that, but it's located in Ticonderoga.
Oh, okay, that's different. That's the.
This is permanent.
Okay, that one's ran by the guy that his part-time job or his day job is Elvis impersonator, and our good friend Jim Bray was up there, and apparently Shatner was visiting. And so he got to meet Bill Shatner up there, and
cool.
Yeah, so very cool. So Jim has got some stories to tell.
From the outside, it looks like an auto body shop run by sci-fi nerds, but you go inside, there's the replica of the original Enterprise set.
And
hallways.
Let me tell you real quick here.
It's really elaborate.
I was going to say, these sets have been built meticulously like the original sets from the original series.
It's got the sick bay, a transporter room, Captain Kirk's quarters, bedroom.
So I started thinking of Zap Brown again.
Yeah. Of course, the bridge is there with Kirk's captain's chair. They say, this article says, that sucker is so convincing that you can practically smell the space STDs wafting off it. And here's what you're saying. It was built by the Trek superfan and professional Elvis impersonator James Cawley, who painstakingly recreated this himself. And as you said, it was so good that Shatner himself visited it this year, recently. And you should try to get there and see it.
Yes. Like I said, our friend Jim Bray, Jim and Jody Bray of the Outer Rim, he, I guess, was off doing his thing, and Jody was all happy because it was like vacation time.
I know the feeling, man.
Husband's gone. I get to sleep all day, and there's not anything he could say about it. So, but yeah, the sets are just phenomenal. The lighting, everything. It is like...
It's really impressive. I'm looking at the pictures.
You just teleported back to the 1960s and walked aboard the Enterprise. Now, let's talk a little quick Trek here, Solana, before we get into break.
What was it done? Anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, the second one is there's a secret Harry Potter themed menu at Starbucks. I don't really care. And the first one is this is not really an Easter egg. There's an actual Moe's Tavern from The Simpsons in Argentina, which I guess they just made it to look like Moe's Tavern. So I'm looking at it. It's they didn't want to be left out of the copyright infringing fund. It's in the suburbs of Buenos Aires, and it was the idea of taking an old rundown mechanic shop and turn it into a bar, which they did, and. Fox is real stickler for their intellectual property, so they shut it down.
Not as much as Paramount is.
So the first time someone's using a bootleg Simpsons merch in order to get fans loaded, it's not the first time. So it is down there, or it was down there. If it's still down there, but I'm seeing a picture of it. So you may proceed.
No, I was just thinking of the old series, and it's a shame that you're not a big fan of the old series, but I can understand.
It's too dated feeling.
Well, to some degree, it does feel a little dated. I was watching, I have had an opportunity to watch a lot of crap on TV lately, and one of the things I was watching was like some of the worst television series is, like top 5 of the worst Star Trek original series, but then they had the top 5 best. And one of the best, actually, was more Deep Space Nine than it was the original series, but the Trouble with Tribbles episode, where they were able to, I guess the, what is it thing? The Defiant went back in time, and during the time period when Kirk and all them were on whatever the deep space, whatever that particular deep space station was called at that time. It had the green that was bad, and they found out because the Tribbles had eaten it and then died. And but anyway, that was a top-rated particular episode that combined the original series and Deep Space Nine, and I thought it was one of great episodes. I'm trying to think. Of course, now we always recommend from Deep Space Nine In the Pale Moonlight because it has the Garrett is in it, and I can't think of his name to save his life. But I always think of him from the 1970s cop drama Dirty Harry. He played Scorpio.
Andrew Robinson.
Thank you very much. You're always there for me in my dreams. And so,
That's one way to put it.
I think what I'm going to miss the most out of being down for the count is how nice you've been to me.
Oh, for heaven's sake. It's because you're man pitiful.
It's not that I'm man pitiful.
You're man pitiful.
I've been in a lot of pain.
You've been in a lot of pain, and you've been physically unable to do some things. So I will make dinner. I bring you to dinner. I refill your drink, your beverage. I get stuff in can you hand me that? Or I need to plug my phone in to charge. Can you do this? So, little things to relieve you from having to do it, because I know you physically, it hurts too much. I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. You were really in pain several times this week, even today, and you were kind of mean, but you were in pain, so I let it slide. Now, had I been any regular day and you'd acted like that, not in pain, you'd have been speaking to me 3 days later.
I think you would have taken the Jackie Gleason approach and said, "You just wait until I get home. I'm going to punch your mama in the mouth."
Well, anyway, so I've tried to be supportive. I've even been the one to tell you, said, let's go to the ER. And then I found you another ER that was better. So,
yeah, well, we were going to go. The only reason we didn't go to that one was because it was not open.
I have done my duty. As a supportive spouse. And I really want you well for your own sanity, for your own health, for your own safety. And because I want to take naps.
The thing is that you see that there's certain silver lining there that I'm getting better because I'm more upbeat, relaxed. Well, I wouldn't say relaxed, but
I can tell when you're more yourself versus when you're not yourself.
Why? Because I tell jokes like K28.
Well, I just know.
Okay.
I just know. I can't elaborate on that.
By the way, K28 is on the good list. Just thought I'd throw that one out.
Even though he's not here tonight.
Yeah, he's not. I haven't seen him show up that much lately, and I'm going to have to get after him.
He's probably somewhere eating imported kale on a railroad train car somewhere.
Or he's been stuffed into a closet, and his phone is not properly charging. So... Anyway, we miss you, K28. So Missing people always brings up a break. And here we are for another break.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Solana.
Hey, Solana!
What?
If Spaceboy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe?
SpaceboyUniverse.com.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Ron.
All right, we're back, and always an interesting conversation behind the scenes. And the thing is, this show pretty much owes the fact of our journey when we go places in our car. And because we come up with some of the bizarrest things out of left field. And one of those conversations I had today was that I told Solana, I said, Solana, it's rough because I really like some of Katy Perry's songs, and she's not bad to look at. And of course, I was glad that Solana didn't throat punch me or punch me in the throat or something.
I don't disagree.
And but the thing is, I've heard things and I've seen things with her on American Idol, and she's really. I wished I had a button to push the hold on just a second.
It's not just her. I mean, there's others.
Let's see. She really is a. So we talked a little bit about this.
Timing was bad.
What's that?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Okay, you wish the goat was dead, huh? Would you prefer the monkeys?
No, I don't prefer to have any farm animal noises.
Okay, well, I don't think you find monkeys on farms.
You can if you want to.
Well, I've not heard of a monkey farmer.
We'll ask Carl about it.
Okay, we'll ask Carl. But anyway, so that led into about the Illuminati thing, and did you want to chime in? Or?
Oh, well, way back when we did a show on... I forget what it's called. Anyway, symbols and hidden meanings in music and possible Illuminati imagery in songs and music videos, mostly music videos. And one of the things that came up when I was doing that research was, of course, Katy Perry. Only because she's been a recent person who's done music and done videos. I mean, there's others like, Madonna, who was doing all this crap way before anybody else, but... you could take one of these artists like Madonna or Beyonce and go off on them. But we just happened to get up on Katy Perry because she had that Dark Horse thing, which I didn't see, but there was another one, and I can't remember the name of the song, but she has this music video, and it starts off, she's coming off a video shoot or the stage, and she's all dressed up in her candy outfit, and she gets changed, and she goes through this dark place, and she goes through this maze, and there's all kind of classic, what they say is classic Illuminati imagery, the checkerboard floor, the mirrors, a lot of MK Ultra stuff, her being bound to a wheelchair and drugged up and trying to break out, and it's Wide Awake. That's the name of the song. I'm wide awake, or as the kids say these days, woke. So you can argue it both ways, but so there's sites and videos out there that chronicle this stuff about supposed satanic influence. Well, she grew up with her parents being staunch Christians and believing in God, and I think they had something to do with the church, because I heard Katie say in her youth she felt like she's being groomed to be the next Amy Grant. And if you don't know who Amy Grant is, just go Google that real quick. So she had been saying casually in interviews that she sold her soul to the devil to get, where she is. And people say that, they throw that around all the time, but you always wonder, is there a grain of truth to that? So a lot of her performances on stage and in these videos, they say, are full of satanic and occult rituals to mock her Christian upbringing, and they say it's only getting worse for her. Now, she said, I don't believe in a heaven or hell or an old man sitting on a throne. I believe in a higher power bigger than me that keeps me accountable. Accountable for what? And I don't get it. Anyway, I did not see her 2014 Grammy Awards performance, but it was depicting satanic witchcraft rituals on stage, apparently.
I think that was Dark Horse.
So,
and she was wearing, her outfit had I guess it was an upside down cross, and I mean, it's nothing somewhat new in the sense of Madonna's been there kind of thing before. You know,
and there's about Miley Cyrus and
and
Beyonce, who is the queen of darkness, I think. Anyway,
Britney Spores.
Britney Spores.
Britney Spears.
Actually, Britney has either toned down or just calmed down. You don't see much about her anymore.
No.
So so Miley seems to be calmed down too. She's gone through and what they say is, every few years it's sort of expected that these female artists have to reinvent themselves with the way they look or how they act or how they're marketed or present themselves, and that could be what's going on with her. But she went through this sinful rebellion, renouncing her faith. She seemed to have an outright hostility towards her upbringing. Although she goes on to get awards for human rights in support of LGBTQT rights. Yeah. But she attacks the religious stuff. So, Witness is one of her latest albums. It's supposed to be rife with occult themes and symbolism. Of course, the all-seeing eye and third eye, which is supposed to be humanity's transcendence or spiritual transformation that goes back to the Garden of Eden. There's Beyonce doing that little eye thing.
And I guess what's funny about this is that, we had the conversation, the all-seeing eye, and when I get home, one of the first songs I play on my Spotify is "Eye in the Sky" from Alan Parsons Project, which is funny because it's
an omnipotent thing.
It's
And I am the eye in the sky looking at you.
I've never done any research on him, but I know that they were into the fantasy movies. In fact, one of your favorite fantasy movies, what was it? Where Rutger Hauer was in it, and Michelle
Lady
Pfeiffer,
Hawk.
Lady Hawk.
Oh, Lady Hawk.
They did the music for that movie.
That's a strange thing because you've got this Lady Hawk, which seems like it's not set in any specific time, but it feels like it's almost like a medieval romance.
Mm-hmm.
But you have that score that's very synthesizer based, right?
Right.
It's like, okay, this doesn't fit, but you almost can't imagine it without it. So, Perry does a tribute to David Bowie in her album art, because of the Ziggy Stardust thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Bowie was they say, I don't know if it's true because I'm not a true Bowie fan, Bowie was a devotee of Satanist Aleister Crowley. So think about that when you're loving up on his music. So
once again, it's like, hey, I'm digging the music, I love it, and all of a sudden something comes along. Well, that he's a Satanist, or he, or he reads this, or
just something for you to ponder. I'm not saying this, that, or the other. Now that speaking of Bowie, his video for Black Star opens in something called the Villa of Ormen. Ormen is a reference to the Norwegian word for serpent mentioned by Aleister Crowley in one of his writings. So, and one of his biographers, Bowie's biographers, says, Bowie had an open fascination with Crowley, which is not his real name, by the way. Crowley renamed himself because he wanted it to rhyme with holy, but be an inversion of that. So and he created a special tarot deck, practiced the occult, tried to harness satanic powers. I'm sorry, y'all, but Crowley wasn't a nice person. But there's a lot more we could say about him. That really, really awful things he did and believed. So the album Station to Station, he's drawing a Kabbalistic tree of life. Again, something that was made by Aleister Crowley. There's a photograph of Crowley mimicking in Egyptian garb, and then there's a young Bowie in almost his version of the Egyptian garb. that lightning bolt on his face, that has to do with they say Satan falling as a lightning bolt from heaven. Of course, Gaga mimicked it, I guess, as a way to, as a tribute, but I don't know. So Katy Perry chooses to honor him as well. Now, she has a video, Katy, called Bon Appetit, and it's really weird. It's got, they say, Illuminati satanic perversion. I'm looking at screenshots, and I'm like, ugh. It's got some of the most vile imagery seen in pop music. Part of her as a mind-controlled entertainer is put in a factory and prepared as food for cannibalistic elites. They're chopping off her long blonde braids. Mm-hmm. She's sitting in front of what looks like a giant pie that has body parts sticking out of it. It's perverse, disgusting video, debased as art, mock cannibalism. It appears, I guess they're putting it off as performance art, but it depicts death, cannibalism, and dismembered bodies.
You sure it wasn't a Taco Bell commercial?
She gained widespread overriding when the invitation to spirit a cooking dinner sent to Hillary Clinton chief advisor John Podesta was leaked to the public. The act of spirit cooking involves Abramovic using pig's blood as a way of connecting with the spiritual world to cook up thoughts rather than food. That video of the practice shows her writing various statements with blood, such as, with a sharp knife cut deeply into your middle finger, eat the pain. This would lead me to believe that she's gone bat crap crazy. So, I've not seen the video. Don't think I want to.
I think I saw part of it and thought, okay, this is pretty messed up, and moved on with something else. But
so here's another crazy thing she's trying to do. Katy Perry went to court for the rights to purchase a convent that was the site of a satanic ritual murder.
This pisses me off, because is this the one where the nuns were trying to, save their convent? And
I don't know. I haven't heard of it.
Well, anyway, in the end, basically Katy Perry screwed these nuns out of the convent, and
I can read you what this says about it.
Maybe it's the same thing. Let's see.
It says Katy Perry. This is a quote. Katy Perry has been branded disgusting by nuns at the center of a court battle over a spectacular former convent in Los Angeles that Perry wants to buy. Sister Rita Callahan reveals the order is so incensed by the sale of their one-time home. So these nuns used to live there. Mm-hmm. They've now got the Pope involved, enlisting the help of his lawyer to help him with the case. So, Sister Rose Catherine Holtzman and the other nuns are part of the Order of the Immaculate Heart of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Sounds like a really cool cover band. They're locked in a battle over who has the right to sell the mansion where they used to live. It's I don't know what the deal is. Of course, they don't want her to have it. They don't like Katy Perry's lifestyle, but they're furious because Katy promotes promiscuity and fornication, which that's just people. But it's the witchcraft stuff and selling her soul to the devil and all that good stuff. However, photos shown below, Perry was indeed at this event for witches. Who are witches? I don't know if this was just a museum thing or what. Anyway, the mansion was the site of a grisly murder that followers of a cult leader and Satanist, good old Charles Manson, was involved in. So I guess that was I guess that's why Katy wants this, because it was the site of a famous, terrible act. Mm-hmm. But so there's Katy on a stripper pole. She's dancing a stripper pole in the Bon Appetit video. The sinful rebellion process as she continues. She's gone out of her way to reject God and given over to her sinful flesh. That's what that imagery is all about. An apple's forced into her mouth in this same video, reinforcing her satanic initiation. describes how the actions of Perry's past several years have turned her back on Christian faith. Now they've got a video about her admitting about her suicidal thoughts where she's crying. This is not a well person, I don't think. I'm not saying that's the gospel truth. Gospel. I just think there's something deeply wrong here, and I don't know what it would take to bring her back from wherever this is. She's got massive wealth, multi-platinum ads, millions of adoring fans. Still, she finds herself tragically on the verge of ending her own life, she says. She still looks to God's grace. And I'm like, well, I wonder who she thinks that is. They put a massive amount of effort. She puts a massive amount of effort, like other entertainers, in promoting a spiritual message that points to rebellion against God. So, I don't know. The whole thing is just strange.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not trying to push a certain religion on you or anything, but it disturbs me. If it doesn't disturb you, okay, that's fine, you know. So, here's another thing. Beyonce and the Illuminati, music's most WTF conspiracy theories explained. So, it's not just Katie. This stuff goes back to, I guess, when rock and roll was born. Maybe even more, because I thought I saw something about possible Illuminati illusions or tones or something in classical music. This is before music videos. So, the thing with Beyonce is she's one time admitted, or maybe more than once, that when she goes to perform, to do her music like live or something,
mm-hmm.
she says something comes over her like a force or an entity, and she calls it Sasha Fierce, and she actually named, I think, one of her albums that.
Right.
So it's like she's admitting to being possessed. So it's very strange. Of course, Jay-Z's Rock Nation involves holding his palms out in the triangle formation, which is, the triangle, that's all part of Illuminati, the pyramid stuff, and then he'll hold it over one eye. Again, this is the all-seeing eye stuff. I mean, we've covered all this before. They're saying this goes back before Beyonce's rise of fame with, I don't know if anybody remembers the singer Aaliyah, who died in 2001. Now, there's a theory that claims Aaliyah was killed because she tried to get out from under Illuminati control. I think she was supposedly killed in an airplane thing, or I'm not sure. See, Aaliyah was meant to be the rightful queen of the music industry, but after she died, Beyonce stepped in to take her place. Now, I had read somewhere else, this is a while back, that, okay, so let's say Beyonce was coming in to take her place, right? There's the queen bee.
Yeah.
Her video, Beyonce's video, Crazy in Love, is her going from her innocence into her fame and her getting involved with Jay-Z. There's a point where she's in the back seat of a car, and these flames erupt all around her car, and that's like burning her old self away, and she's being reborn or reinvented into Beyonce, the queen bee, Queen Bey. So, a lot of people were accused of this. Whitney Houston, Justin Bieber, Bono, Eminem, Nicki Minaj. I totally believe Nicki Minaj is in this. Lil Wayne, Dr. Dre. The hip-hop world is supposed to be rife with this stuff. But it's not just them, as we've learned from Solaris. It's also maybe bands you never suspected, like Rush, as far as mind control, MK Ultra, Illuminati stuff.
And we've learned a lot about that through Solaris Blue Raven. With Rush.
Yeah. She's firsthand, knowledge. So, of course, these are all theories. You can find the boogeyman anywhere you want to look. So, this stuff just goes on and on and on with, but it just seems like with Katy Perry, the more stuff I see from her screenshots of this video, it's like, ugh. this Bon Appetit. I kind of want to look at it now. So she's like, she's actually naked, laying on a table, covered in food. She's like Play-Doh waiting to be shaped, demonic Play-Doh waiting to be shaped. This is somebody's take. I don't know. She's in a red dress at some event, draped in a veil with the evil eye over one part of her head. First of all, that is a stupid looking dress. Let's not even talk about the supposed Satanism. That's just stupid looking. Anyway, so she should be embarrassed.
Tell me how you really feel.
So you should be embarrassed. Anyway, I may have to check out this thing. I don't know if I can handle it. And she looks so dead right there.
Well, I guess to wrap this part of our topic up, it's just I guess she started off in a wholesome way, and now she's in a point where it's like, it's sad to see her life the way it is. And so, it is what it is, right, Solana?
Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And, I have to say that, if once you start going down this rabbit hole, it's enough to make somebody go absolutely bonkers. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, dealing with these conspiracies and Illuminati and ancient cults, rituals, and the satanic beliefs of most people out there. It's pretty freaky. It makes you want to get an aluminum foil hat and put it on to try to protect yourself. But how do you cope with knowing, all this information that's out there?
You keep me pretty busy and distracted. I don't have time to worry about stuff. You're pulling stunts with your shoulder. You're getting infections. you're cracking a whip. I'm like, we got to do this. 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 We got to get ready. We got to do this. I'm like, whatever. And I'm telling you out there, everybody, June 2nd. June 2nd is the first Saturday after ComicPalooza is over. June 2nd is mine. If I want to sleep till 5 p.m., I'm going to sleep till 5 p.m. You've heard it here first, kids.
Well, I've already said that I've given you permission.
I don't need your flipping permission. You're my husband. You're not my daddy. You're not my guardian. You're not an authority figure. I'm a grown person.
I already said that, yes.
And I can get up and lock the door, and you can't get back in.
You can... And, we have deserved this much-needed time off after ComicPalooza because we need to rest up because...
But your idea of resting is not the same as mine.
Explain how my idea for resting is different from yours.
Yours is, okay, I've slept all the way to 8 a.m. It's time to get up and do things. I'm like, no. You go do things quietly somewhere else. So that's resting.
But, it's kind of like my body has been trained to get up at a certain time.
Well, mine hasn't, and it's never going to happen. And I'm sure your next wife is going to be amazing at getting up at 4 a.m. and getting things done.
We already had this conversation. There will not be another wife after you because, I'll be living in a cabin down by the river. Actually, it should be a van, but,
I don't know if I want to go first. I think you should go first.
Go first on what?
Death.
Death? See, how did this spiral into deafness?
We've had this conversation, too.
Yeah, I mean,
It has to be a Klingon death.
Don't think that just because I've had a few issues this past week, means that you're getting all excited, No wonder you're being nice, thinking, oh glory day, you're going to be doing that song and knowing that I was going to be kicking a bucket soon. No,
buttocks soon.
Kicking my buttocks soon. But no, I'm going to be around a long time.
It has been weird this last week where you weren't able to lay down in the bed because it was too painful.
Oh, yeah.
It was weird. It's like, here's another night he's not in here. Here's another night he's not in here. And, you know, I was like, but on the other hand, I was enjoying it. I was like, it has never been this dark in the bedroom. And I was like, oh, it's nice. It's pitch black in here.
And I stole what pillows he had on his side of the bed because I really didn't need them, but I just wanted to feel the power of the dark side of the Force. So I stole the pillows, and the mountain ranges went from the Swiss mountains to the Everest mountain.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do any of that. The only thing that's there is that bear, that teddy bear, that I've had for a really long time, since the 90s. Because he's the perfect amount of stuffing to throw one arm over. It's almost like having a person there.
Yeah, it's almost like having a person there, which you do have a person there. That
You're too warm.
Too warm.
If you quit putting off so much body heat, maybe I could. And then you don't stay still. You move around, and I can't squish you.
Well, that's true. I don't know. I guess I'm all.
You're not you're not in good condition right now to do that. But it's weird that there's this big empty space and it's really dark in there. But then I started kind of like, well, if anything happens and you're sleeping in your recliner in the living room,
I'll go first.
You'll go first, and I'll probably hear it and then wake up enough to get...
A break-in? Oh, sure. They kill me first, and at least it gives you time
to get something
some
prepped
kind
and
of
ready.
Weapon. Yeah. Thank you, Solana. I appreciate that.
One day, I stayed home from work because I had a terrible headache. I couldn't get up to go to work. And I slept till God knows when during the day. And the cat was in there with me. The door was open to the bedroom. The door was open from the hallway that separates the two sides of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So something made a noise. Like something crashed. Something fell off of something to the floor. And I know it wasn't a cat because the cat was laying right on top of me. And she heard it too at the same time. And she shot up like, what was that? And I'm like, so I was not imagining it. And it freaked me out so bad. I got up and I took some protection with me. I'll just leave it at that. And only problem is I couldn't figure out if the safety was on or off.
Mm-hmm.
So,
feminine products?
Well, this is kind of protection that if this bullet gets into you, you know, I walked in here with it. So I was looking around, and I don't know what it is, but it's going to get a hole blown through it. So I didn't see anything. The front door was fine. Everything was fine. The garage door, back door, everything was locked, and I didn't see anything fall. Nothing was on the floor. The cat was with me the whole time. It was just really weird, and it sounded like it came from in here or the kitchen.
Well, to be quite honest with you, the whole house looks like Beirut.
The house looks like we've had 12 consecutive frat parties in here. Because I just don't give a crap anymore. I've given up.
Thing is that, planning for the ComicPalooza thing, and, it's taking a lot of room out, so, it is what it is.
And then you got shut down with this, and I'm like, well, that's a good excuse for me to not do things.
All right, so Solana, we've reached the bottom of the hour. Before we head off into Brickville, I just want to wish Michelle a happy early birthday from the bottom of my heart. I don't know about Solana's because hers is like the Grinch, but at least you got a warm happy birthday from Spaceboy.
Ditto.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Solana.
The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt. It's Bot versus Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship. where your challenger, Goodbot, will face the reigning champion, Badbot.
You're terminated.
Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SBU production.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Solana.
We're back live.
From the living room.
Mm-hmm.
Not the studio. Because we're testing something. Which means, unfortunately, tonight we will not be able to take your calls because all that's set up in the studio in the other room. But that's just for tonight. We'll I assume next week we'll be back to normal?
Yes, because we were testing the equipment out for ComicPalooza.
We're just making sure all the remote stuff works.
According to Gene, everything sounds 5x5, and hey, I like it like that. Yeah, the portable equipment stuff is fairly simple and easy to use, and quite frankly, I think we sound pretty decent.
Considering we're missing some of the equipment that, makes it a little bit more refined. So.
Yeah, like the compressor, eliminating the AC.
Yeah, the compressor. It does make a difference because it's like, God, you just hear every little thing now, or I can in my headphones.
Yeah, well, with your typing and stuff.
Well, I try not to type, but sometimes I just want to talk to people in the chat room because they're cool.
Yeah,
and they make me feel like I'm included in something.
Like you're special, like you're Sally Field.
Like it's like the old days. It's like the old days of IRC chat.
You like me. You really like me.
No, and it's just. I remember the old days of IRC chat. It was really nothing like that. And this is actually more mature, so involve, less teenagers. Anyway, I am embarrassed to tell you, I did not know what the book The Zookeeper's Wife was about, which was the basis for the movie The Zookeeper's Wife. Well, let me tell you.
First off, where did this come from? Because I don't even know where.
If you'll
indulge you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, of course it's no secret to people of a certain age, if you know your history, that the Nazis were a little bit obsessed with purity and genetics and, wanting the world to look a certain way, blonde, blue-eyed Germans.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually wanted to start their own little Jurassic Park. And in the quest to do it, they were trying to dominate the genetics of human beings in pretty much the entire planet and plants and animals, right? So I found this through an article on cracked.com, but then I went and Googled it. So it's more entertaining looking at it through Cracked, but so there was a pair of German zoologists who got tasked with trying to recreate two extinct mega animals. So this is Lutz Heck and his brother Heinz Heck, H-E-C-K, Heck. And they were the directors at Hellebrunn Zoo in Munich. And they thought they could bring back these extinct species through selective breeding. And, of course, they're over there. They're just fascinated by pure and noble animals that had vanished decades and centuries before. And they want to restore certain species. So they started in the 1920s with back breeding, whatever this is, to use domesticated animals to create new breeds that resemble their wild, extinct ancestors. So they were going to try to bring back, I don't know how to say this, the Auroch aurochs and the tarpan, two supersized, super aggressive ancestors of the modern horse and some cattle. Why are they going to do that? They wanted to restore the glory of ancient Germanic forests creatures, I guess, and they wanted to bring back animals to kill people that could kill people,
Mm-hmm.
So I guess because they didn't exist at the same time. So in 1933, Lutz got into a more position of power, became a member of the SS, and so his brother kind of distanced himself from that regime and didn't go through with some things during the Nazi era, but Lutz's allegiance got him the support of some of the high-standing Nazi officials, including Hermann Goering, who's in the middle of everything that's just evil and wrong. He, of course, served as a patron for these back-breeding projects, and this work they were doing was seen as keeping with the Nazi concepts of racial hygiene and purity of races. So there's always another angle on it. So But I'm going back and forth between two articles. One that's taking this seriously and the Cracked article. Now, the Cracked article says what's weird, or even weirder, is the brothers, when they were both on board with it, thought of this project long before the Nazis got in touch with them. This means the Nazis heard about it and decided it was crazy and awful, and so yeah, let's do it. So I guess one brother said, I don't think I'm going to get on board with this, whereas Lutz said, yeah, let's do it. And he got his membership card stamped for the crazy cops, and he claims he successfully resurrected an auroch. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. But it was just a new breed of cattle. It wasn't something from that was like from the prehistoric days. Now, he made this new breed, and it was aggressive for sure, but still just the size of a regular cow. It's not a prehistoric monster. Now, how did they do this back before? We've got some pretty cutting edge technology now to do genetic splicing and slicing and dicing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about decades before Watson and Crick, before the CRISPR, if you know what that is, and rewriting genomes, before we knew about the structure of DNA. So they chose animals they thought had the characteristics they were looking for, and they just bred them together to recreate extinct Eurasian horse known as the tarpan. They backbred its domesticated descendants, and they did produce the heck horse, which resembles the tarpan, but it's not a genetic duplicate. So it looks pretty special, if you know what I'm saying. They had an ancestor for this horse, and it died out in 1627. So the heck horse was developed between 1920 and 1930s. They still exist in small numbers in Europe today, so I guess they didn't keep on breeding this specific type of horse. But I just think it's fascinating. They tried to do the Jurassic Park thing, Heinz Heck, the one that said he wasn't going to get involved in this, remained dedicated to their efforts until the Nazis collapsed, and he remained the director of that zoo until 1969. Now, Lutz was not portrayed accurately in the Zookeeper's Wife movie, they're saying, but he was guilty of stealing famous and valuable animals from zoos in Nazi-occupied Europe. So now I'm going to have to watch this movie, including the Warsaw Zoo. He looted these zoos, and of course it got him in trouble with the Soviet officials, and they arrested him as a war criminal when Berlin fell. I guess he was pilfering these animals for his, bringing back, these certain animals to make prehistoric animals. So, as a result, the end of the war, only 2 zoos in the world had pea horses, which were both in the German Reich and the Music Zoo, run by the brothers, and the Prague Zoo. So I guess him taking these animals really messed things up for other zoos and the populations that they might have had. That I guess maybe they had some protected animals and they really screwed it up. It's Przewalski's horses. That's what it was they took from these zoos. So in 2005, these specific horses were changed from extinct in the wild to endangered. So that's like they're gone. Okay, there's some, but they're endangered. So there's just several hundred of these herds today. So Lutz Heck had some limited success to create extinct species, but it wasn't a carbon copy. It was just sort of like a new breed.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know about that, but I'm not the least bit shocked. Anything you tell me about the Nazis, I'm like, yeah, that probably happened. Oh, they experimented on people and created zombies. Yeah, that probably happened. This like, oh, he opened a portal and aliens came through. I'm like, yeah, that probably happened. Did you know any of that?
No. I knew that you had scientists back then, performing all sorts of genetic experimentations on Jews and other races during that time period, and I guess in the quest to better understand, the human body and I guess to create, the ultimate race.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the ultimate race in humans. I guess it was the ultimate version of plants and animals as well.
Mm-hmm. I find that part interesting because I've never read personally anything about the animal, recreation of animals past. I find that interesting, but it's not something that I've heard off the top of my head as far as my, I guess, early Nazi German scientist readings.
Right. I just thought that was interesting because the problem with history is there's so much of it. You can't know it all in a lifetime, so you just, I guess when something grabs your eye, you've got to go for it. Sorry, I'm a little distracted there. They're trying to turn Spam-A-Lot into a movie. Mm-hmm. Not much you can say about that. I don't know why to bother with that, but
read that yesterday.
That Spam-A-Lot is a live action musical, isn't it? Performance? Like a Broadway performance?
Yeah, right now it's like a Broadway performance, and they want to turn it into a theatrical thing. Now, Spam-A-Lot, interesting thing about that, we owe Monty Python the term spam for our email. That's where that comes from, is from Monty Python.
Not from the actual meat product?
No, not from the actual meat product.
Well, they sung about the actual meat product. You don't know any more about that?
What, the spam?
Yeah.
No, that's all I had. Sorry, I'm not the linguist you are. I could throw something in like the next Rambo series is going to be, I guess, Stallone versus the drug cartel. That's coming up.
I'm going to look that up while you're doing that.
Let's see here. The guy that played the Toxic Avenger passed away recently, which is sad to hear about that. Let's see here. What else? In Infinity War, you want me to tell people who died?
Don't do that. Only thing I was going to say about Infinity War.
I already promised everybody I wouldn't tell anybody.
The only thing I was going to say about Infinity War, I just saw they're saying Infinity War, the movie, could finally tear Marvel film and TV apart. I guess that means they're going to... What's going on the TV and what's going on in the movies are going to diverge.
Right, because they, for some reason, the TV thing never matches up with the big stars of the cinematic universe. For example, I think a lot of that is dealing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then, of course, you have Marvel products that are on Netflix right now, which you have Jessica Jones, you have Luke Cage, you have the Iron Fist, and then who can forget the guy that has brought Daredevil back to its glory after Ben Affleck chopped that thing up. Charlie Cox has done an exceptional job of doing Daredevil. So they're trying to, I guess, not put them in the same, universe or something to that effect, which I think is bizarre, and why they're doing it that way is beyond me.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh, okay. If you're dying to know the origin of spam to mean junk mail and whatnot. Okay, we know what spam is. Spam is sort of a spliced together of spiced ham, which is a Hormel meat product use the term loosely, meat. But it also became to know as getting spam messages or fake messages or just garbage junk email, right? So the term comes from the Hormel company spam. So this is in 1970, Monty Python's Flying Circus had a skit where they sang about spam, and they were talking about the actual spam product, the meat product. Spam, 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 lovely spam, wonderful spam. Go Google it. You'll find it on YouTube, I'm sure, that whole little skit. And it became a part of pop culture. So now how did it get to mean into the internet, to mean, for things like the chat messages and news groups and emails? Because, in 1970, I don't know that there was a whole lot of internet stuff going on. It's well documented, though, that they chose the word spam to refer to the 1970 Monty Python sketch where spam singing was drowning out the conversation in the skit. Anytime somebody would want to talk, they would just break out into song about spam. So spam itself was an unwanted and popping up all over the menu. They had spam, spam egg sausage and spam. You just have to watch the skit. So it was sort of ubiquitous and everywhere, and it was drowning out any conversation in the skit. So it was first documented on a Usenet group March 31st, 1993. Often used incorrectly to state the first usage of spam was referring to spam messages, but this is not true. Richard Depew, D-E-P-E-U, Depew, who had been playing with some moderation software, accidentally ended up posting about 200 duplicate messages in a row to news.admin.policy newsgroup. The first person to call this spam is thought to be a guy called Joel Furr, F-U-R-R, Joel Furr, on March 31st, 1993. Depew apologized when he referred to his own messages as spam. Likely the first use of spam referring to electronic messages comes from MUDs, or multi-user dungeons, sort of a real-time multi-person shared environment. It's like a primitive version of The Sims Online or Second Life, if you are familiar with those games. So in the MUD, users could chat and interact with other people, locations, and objects, as well as create objects and share them with a community. I think that's pretty abstract. Basically, they were creating their own advanced chat room back in the day. So these MUDs come from the fact it reminded people certain aspects of Dungeons and Dragons, therefore multi-user dungeons. And that deeply nerdy. Think about that for a minute. So anyway, spamming in this environment was used to refer to different things, including flooding the computer with random data, spam the database, flooding it with new objects, or flooding a chat session with unwanted text. Now, when I did IRC, people were doing that is they would like copy paste a bunch of something, and it would just like, take up your whole screen. So they would kind of like spam you with text. You could flood it with objects at a chat session if it wanted text, the same thing. So you could fill a member's account with unwanted electronic junk. So they referred to anything in that environment as spam, as if you had an abundance of something in that environment. Others say spam term on the internet originated in BitNet's Relay, which is a very early chat system in the 1980s. Now here users could occasionally come on and annoy other users with unwanted text, including the actual spam song from Monty Python. Another chat system on the TRS-80 was reported of having this same spam phenomenon. These two chat systems are not documented, so it's sort of just a rumor that they were using it too. But that's basically how it got into the internet culture to mean superfluous, unwanted, extra stuff you don't care about.
Wow.
And now you know.
And that is the rest of the story. Now, with that magical note, guess what time it is? It's
break
time to break for a little...
or break dance.
A break dance, break whatever, just don't break a hip. We'll be back.
Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Solana.
Greetings, Space Cadets. Let's see what's in the sky tonight in the Spaceboy Universe. Tonight, in the eastern sky, we have Spaceboy Universe rising above the horizon in glorious splendor. And in the west, we can see Solana's Majoris, which is visible at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Oh, it's locked
just
up.
below the K-28 belt. So keep your eyes on the sky and listen to Spaceboy Universe.
I'm ready for this show to be over.
1 hour. I'm ready to get this thing wiped off my neck.
You know H. John Benjamin, right?
Yes.
He's got a book out. You can read. Did you know that?
Now I know.
Such a good song.
Forgot to turn the mic off.
To Spaceboy Universe. Here are
Good thing we weren't saying anything bad about Bob. Hey, we're back. Welcome to the Spaceboy Universe.
We've learned not to get personal during the show.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
Yeah, I'm usually quiet. Usually, good thing you didn't hear like the bladder's full.
Like that would stop you from doing.
Well, I don't know. But
were you saying, or somebody else saying, there's possibly going to be a Rambo 5?
Yeah, apparently Rambo goes against the drug cartel, and
in his wheelchair.
Oh, babe, he's not that bad. I mean, the last movies that I've seen him do were The Expendables, and he's still relatively buff, even though his veins are popping out of his arms, you know. But he's still fit.
Okay.
I mean, and it is the movies. I mean, they could put me in a monkey suit, and I'd
good
still.
for him.
Good for him.
So, speaking of remakes, I guess they're going to do a Pet Sematary remake.
So, I guess.
Why do they spell cemetery Sematary?
That's a good question.
Can somebody in the chat figure that out for me? Is there a reason they're spelling it wrong? Is there a special reason? Because I thought it was Cemetary.
And I think that
CME.
we're seeing another Pet Sematary movie is because Keen is on an upswing.
Well, apparently Lithgow's going to be in it. He's going to play the creepy guy.
Yeah, the one that was originally played by Herman Munster himself.
Fred Gwynn.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Gwynn. So, yeah, he's going to join the cast. Sometimes Dead is Better Crandall. Lithgow's going to play whatever character Fred Gwynn played.
Mm-hmm.
I've not seen the movie, the original. I'd be up for watching it now. See, when I was a kid, I was a little squeamish about stuff like that. I knew my limits. Now I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, compared to what they have as horror movies today is like, it's cheesy. You know what I mean?
Who's this actor? Martin Freeman. He's been, of course, in the Sherlock TV series over there in Britain.
Mm-hmm. Like him, he's a good actor. Yeah.
He's in, I guess, that Hobbity movie I've never seen. He's in some of the...
Galaxy Quest, not Galaxy Quest, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
He's in some of this Marvel stuff,
Yes, he's got a character in there.
Is it me, or does it just seem like everything he's in, there's this hint to his acting, there's just this little feeling of he doesn't want to be there. I'm like, why are you an actor? He just feels like he doesn't want to be there. I don't know, maybe that's just my interpretation.
Could it be just a British thing with him, or...
I don't know, I don't get that from yummy, scrumptious Tom Hiddleston.
I thought you were going to say John Cumberbatchman.
I haven't seen enough of him. I don't care, and I think he's an alien.
Benedict Egg Arnold Patchman, whatever.
I was watching an older video of Markiplier, and he was trying to Photoshop while drunk, and he was trying to say Benedict Cumberbatch, and he got the last name so wrong, I was in tears. He was photoshopping his own face. He goes, I look like Benedict Cucumber Bunch or something, and I lost it. And I'd like to go back and watch that particular video of his. I think photoshopping drunk is the only way to Photoshop.
Okay.
Have you seen... I'm guessing this is a TV series. It's called What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes, I have seen it.
It's kind of interesting. Officially coming to the United States series ordered by FX. So, this is that guy Taika Waititi who directed Thor Ragnarok. It's getting late. He'd been trying to develop this in the U.S. For a while. Apparently, they've had it overseas. It was, Jermaine Clement. He was half of Flight of the Conchords. He's in this, or was in this. In 2014, it was like a mockumentary. It's called What We Do in the Shadows. So FX has ordered their own series based on this. Oh, it's a film? Or is it film?
I thought it was a series.
The first season will be 10 half-hour episodes. So, of course, Clement and Waititi won't be in the show. So, it's going to be set in New York City, and it will have Matt Berry from the It Crowd as Laszlo, Kayvon Novak, I don't know who that is, as Nandor, and Natasha Demetrio as Nadja, and Harvey Gillen
really
as the assistant. I'm trying to figure out what is this actually about. So I have to Google.
Well, they're vampires, and You know, and in the, I guess the universe they're in also has werewolves. Okay, it's a mockumentary horror comedy film. It wasn't a TV series. It was in 2014. It's about. This sounds kind of funny. It's about a group of vampires who live together in Wellington. I guess maybe that's the UK, or maybe it is Australia or New Zealand.
New Zealand, probably.
Because I think Waititi is a New Zealander, if I'm not mistaken.
Jermaine is New Zealand.
And so is Jermaine, so that makes sense. It's probably Wellington, New Zealand. So Jermaine and Taka, it premiered at the Sundance Festival in January 2014. It follows 4 vampire roommates, Viago, Vladislav, Deacon, and Peter, who share a flat in Wellington, a suburb of Te Aro, so I'm guessing that's down below. They're centuries old, but they've retained their normal human appearance, but one of them is 8,000 years old.
Yes.
Peter resembles Count Orlok and acts most savagely than the younger guys. Each night, they go out on the prowl on the streets of Wellington and they search for people to kill, but they got to stay in the flat during the day to avoid the sunlight, which is, of course, lethal to vampires. And they've not adapted to 21st century life real well, so they're saying Deacon is the human servant, runs errands. She's frustrated that Deacon will not turn her into a vampire as he promised. Jackie leads her ex-boyfriend Nick to the vampire's flat so they can drink his blood. So it sounds like kind of like it's a movie, but it sounds like a sitcom they adapted. Like it's almost like 3 or 4's Company with vampires, you know.
But yeah, it's it came out quite some time ago, but they're making the series now, and of course, this is not the sparkly vampires and werewolves show. It's much different than that. So you know.
Well, it's like a mockumentary type of thing.
Yeah, it was. It was done in the mockumentary. Hey, since you're chatting, can you hand me a Kleenex, please? Thank you, appreciate it.
Look at that! Right there, you are. I'm kind of intrigued. I wonder how we can score a copy of the original movie to watch.
I think it might be on Netflix.
Oh, I'm gonna check that out. It seems like it's kind of funny. Have we mentioned this? I won't get into it, but if you're brave and you're curious, hop on YouTube and look up Pink by Janelle Monáe, and just type in Janelle, Janelle, and Pink, and you know, sit back, watch it, and maybe, you know, compose me an email, Solana@spaceboyuniverse.com. Send me your thoughts. Just curious what you think. Anyway, so on to whatever else we want to talk about. So, you are probably going to see Solo, the movie.
Yes, and not for the guy that's playing Solo, but for Lando Calrissian.
I'm looking at I'm assuming this is an on-set photograph of him. And he looks nothing like Billy D. Williams, but I don't guess it matters.
The important thing is...
He does look awesome, though.
Solo.
He's a good-looking man, that Don Glover.
Does not look like Solo. And, you know, you saw me watching several things about how he does not look. There's a couple of other guys that they could have picked that look more like Han Solo.
I sort of watched you watch a video because I was reading a book and listening to music. I was sitting next to you, but not paying strict attention to anything you were doing. I was just there in spirit if you needed something. So I would glance up and I saw what you were watching. I got what it was about, and they showed test footage of the guy who looked and sounded like a young Harrison Ford. He was believable. He had the mannerisms. He had the voice. He had the attitude. He had some of the facial features. I'm like, why did they go with somebody that has no resemblance in any fashion
to the original.
I believe that he even played Harrison Ford as a younger man in another movie.
The guy they didn't go with.
Yes. And, it just amazes me that, when I was watching this one guy, I can't think of who he is off the top of my head on YouTube, but he was, like, bashing Disney for, because they were at this con of some kind. Yes, he was the first guy that walked in, and we hired him, and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I know I'm getting my funny voices, but yeah, they said they had like 100 people or so come in and audition, but they ended up picking the first guy that came in, and I'm just blown away by the fact that they picked this guy to be Han Solo. But I am going to go see it because despite that, it does look like a pretty good movie in other aspects. I'll just somehow have to tune out the fact that this guy does look nothing like Han Solo.
I'm not that invested in the thing, so I don't...
I know that you're invested in Deadpool.
Yes.
And which is kind of interesting because Fox cordially invites fans to first Deadpool 2 screenings. So I don't know if Houston was going to have a screening of Deadpool or not, but apparently some lucky cities will get an opportunity to see Deadpool early before I guess it comes out on the 18th, before, the actual release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, May 18th is when it comes out.
Oh, I know. I've already got it down.
You got a program in your calendar. You got like a little alarm
on
ready.
April 18th, that was my birthday. I'm like, hey, it's only 1 month until May 18th. So, because it was like, yeah. That's the only movie that's coming out this whole year that I'm like, I will drag you out by your ankles if I have to. And I don't think I'll have to, but if I should have to. But then I realized there's 2 riff tracks this year, so those are 2 more ankle-dragging opportunities for you right there, although you've never resisted going to those with me, so that's what puts you on the good husband list for a while.
Which movies?
Riff tracks.
Oh, well, yeah, I enjoy riff tracks.
They'll be riffing Space Mutiny and Krull.
I'm looking forward to that one.
1 in June, 1 in August. And I have not bought the tickets. So there's going to be a John Wick 3.
Yeah.
And I've not seen the others, but I kind of want to see the John Wick movies. It's just, I've finally sat back and I've thought about things long enough. I'm like, yeah, I want to see that. Yeah, I think I'm going to break down and watch Justice League, despite it being terrible, as they say.
And yeah, my husband's pretty awesome.
Well, let's not go crazy here. They're trying to resurrect Tim Allen's career on Fox.
Actually, I think that they're gonna pick up the series Dead. What was it? Last Man Standing. Fox has, I guess, been in talks with bringing the show over to Fox. As you know, that it was on ABC, and the scuttlebutt on that was that the powers that be let them go because the show was too conservative, and I guess it seems fitting to go to Fox, which is a more conservative. Well, Fox TV's, I wouldn't say is that conservative, but at least they'll have a new home to play out the rest of their show.
So, I am not up on comic books. I've never read them in my youth. I'm not opposed to them. I just, not it's not really been my thing, but if it's your thing, that's really cool. Awesome. So, I'm not up on characters on any universe or anything. So, I was going to ask you, Spaceboy, person, husband, man, about the character Galactus. Do you know anything about that character?
Ooh, no, I know of him.
Well, they're saying Galactus may be the one hero who can save Marvel's universe. Now, are they talking about after Infinity War, or are they talking about the comic books, or is the MCU in peril? Or I mean, now the look of the guy.
Ignore me.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Is that character taken from Galactus?
Yeah, in the Venture
Brothers season 2
they borrow
or 3?
They borrow from that
tons of comic books.
But they borrowed from that Galactus. Of course, he's much
Ignore
bigger.
Me.
He is much bigger in the comics. But just like Dr. Orpheus is a blatant ripoff of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Dr. Orpheus in the Venture Brothers, he's really over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Doctor Strange movie I saw, I don't know how faithful the movie character is to the comic book character. He didn't strike me as being too over the top. Like, Dr. Orpheus is very... He's like a bad 70s magician from a lounge act in Vegas. That's what he's like to me, with a cape and
I'm glad we're on this talk of animated shows, because recently I watched this season of Final Space, and it's an animated series that's on TBS. And it's about this guy named Gary, who it starts off where he's running away from some bad guys. I guess he must have did them wrong in some way, and then he gets to avoid them. He sidetracks into this bar and sees this hot-looking space, whatever you want to call her, captain or whatever. And so he wants to meet her, but in order to meet her, she's only into certain kind of guys. So he goes into the restroom and steals the uniform of a space pilot. And ultimately something happens where all the pilots have to get together, and he ends up destroying like 57 ships and I guess a Mexican food restaurant in the process. And they send them. They send them into like space jail, but this jail is more like he's on board a spaceship by himself with robots and doing repairs on satellites, and it progresses beyond that. But the animation has a nice Rick and Morty feel to it.
I was gonna say, the parts I saw you watching, I was like, this show is like a PG-13 version of Rick and Morty for the family. It reminded me of Rick and Morty, Red Dwarf, Silent Running, and something else. But it was like they mashed them all up together in an animated show. It was it had its moments, its charming characters. It was also felt a little like, Sponge. Of course, Tom Kenny does one of the voices. Probably why I was hearing SpongeBob. It had that feeling to it, but it had more heart to it. It had more kind of like good feelings. Whereas Rick and Morty is nihilistic and dark and hopeless, and you're like,
existence is pain.
Existence is pain, and that's probably why I really dig that show. It's like real life. Whereas the other one is, the one you watch, is pure good TV escapism.
But if you get a chance to catch up on the whole season, season's out.
What's the name of the show again?
It's called Final Space, and just a good cartoon to watch. And it's not Bob the Builder. It's actually a cartoon worthy of someone older to watch and enjoy. So if you get a chance to check that out, must do. What else we got there?
Well, here's something we can chew on for a moment.
All right, I like to chew on some.
This is really interesting to me. After a nearly 8-year run on TBS, Conan O'Brien's talk show will reduce its length to a half-hour format beginning after 2019.
Really?
So, we know what went down with the whole thing where he was on the late night with Conan O'Brien. He was the successor to the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
Didn't quite work out with the ratings and everything.
Well, I don't think it didn't necessarily work out with the ratings. I think that,
whatever happened.
Jay Leno wanted to come back.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I think it's related to what's happening right now, is Jay Leno is part of that old school, Johnny Carson, format.
Mm-hmm.
That time is come and gone. The era of the people, the audience that watch that type of format, come out, tell some jokes, interview, maybe do a skit or two, and that's it.
Or
that time's come and gone.
Or you go to your parents would get in bed by 10.
Mm-hmm.
They'd watch the news.
Yeah.
And then they watch Carson when they would come on. Or that format is pretty much out the window.
We demand so much today of our entertainment, and if you're not entertained, you've got a million other things you can be doing, watching, and any type of device you can think of.
On demand.
On demand. You don't like this, you can go there. So I think the talk show format, as we've known it in our life, is, if it's not already dead, it is really, really dying. Now, people like, I don't know if it's Jimmy Fallon, but they seem to have discovered the formula is you've got to stay hip and on par with this YouTube generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you've got to have something viral and entertaining. It's not enough just to do something entertaining or interview a celebrity. They've got to really, take it to the next level that somebody wants to see and share. Like when Fallon does the history of hip hop with Justin Timberlake, or when he does things like the lip sync battles and things that are quick and easy to share. Can be cut up into clips.
When he mimics famous stars.
Yeah, when he does when he sings. I think what really got me is because I'm not a fan of James Taylor's music. If you are, that's great, and please, dear God, keep it to yourself.
First off, I'm not going to keep it to myself because...
But when he did that skit, I'm just going to talk right over Spaceboy because I know what he's trying to say.
That's because my mom would play one song, Sweet Baby James.
Yes, we know. We've heard it.
And
anyway.
anytime I hear that song, it makes me cry.
Well, we won't talk about that. So
we just did.
When he did that thing to James Taylor's On a Seesaw, I just lost it. Because it's actually James Taylor there dressed as his younger self. And then Jimmy does pretty good at mimicking the tone of how, like, if somebody's nasally, he can do the nasally thing.
He's done Bruce Springsteen. He's done...
what's that guy I really can't stand?
Neil
Young.
Neil Young.
If you're a fan of Neil Young, I don't really want to talk to you anymore. So, please keep that to yourself. Bury that deep. Bury your feelings, Luke. He did really well as that, and he did Jim Morrison doing the Reading Rainbow. I enjoyed that. So, But anyway, shows like that have discovered what works, and they know it works. But he had to completely take that Tonight Show format and flip it completely unrecognizable from the Johnny Carson era and previous from Johnny Carson. And Leno, bless his heart, is a fossil. The thing he loves to do most is gone. But it's not like Leno was hurting for money. Leno has a niche in the Jay Leno's Garage thing. That's out there. That's a show you can go see. So I'm not that shocked to find out that Conan is scrunching down to, a half hour.
Well, I heard that he was going to also do the show where it's the gaming show.
Now, he sort of has stumbled into this new world format of entertainment by accident by doing that segment Clueless Gamer, where they sit him down in front of an Xbox or a PS, whatever, and they try to show him how to play a game, and I believe that he's that uncoordinated when it comes to that, because I am too. And for some reason, that has really taken off, because the gaming industry, video games, PC games, is it goes through these cycles where it's hot and then it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But I think formats like Steam have really, and VR, have brought games back into our homes. So it could be that he's found another way to reinvent himself to stay relevant. But as he's from that era too, where you come in, you tell a few jokes, you sit down, you do a little skit or a comedy bit, and then you interview celebs in an interesting, entertaining way. And now he's had to kind of reinvent himself a little bit on that show, and it could be that he's tired of it or it's not working. And of course, I'm thinking Letterman retired because he couldn't be part of this new way of entertaining people.
Mm-hmm.
Where I don't know how these guys compete when there is so much freaking information. There's so much content that's vying for your attention on your TV, on your phone, ebooks. You know, cat videos exist for free. How does anybody compete with that? Because I would sit there and watch that 24/7 if you let me. But maybe that's just my sickness.
No, it's just it's a different time that we live in, and all this media, these computers that are portable, give us the opportunity to watch what we want to watch at any given time. And that, to be honest with you, that leads into why people are cutting the cord from cable companies.
I'm amazed cable companies exist.
And you can put the blame on the cable companies because they were forcing you to eat packages that you did not want to have certain channels. You couldn't.
I want to rephrase that.
Well, here you go.
Okay, I just want to say I don't get that, and I don't want to.
So anyway, the monkey has spoken. The thing is that everybody has. Hey, it's 4:35 in the morning, and you're listening to the Zoo Crew. But the thing is that they've denied people a la carte to listen and to watch what they want to watch when they want to watch it. And that has been their downfall. And be quite honest with you, somebody who's a sports fan doesn't want the Lifetime channel in their little package deal that they would get. So it didn't make sense. They would force certain programming, and the monkey made the dog jump. That's what can you say? They forced it upon themselves. So here we are in this modern day of technology where you have a choice. You can pick what you want to watch when you want to watch it. And, it's kind of like, hey, I want to have breakfast for dinner. I mean, now you can have breakfast for dinner. It doesn't mean just because, your scrambled eggs and some hash browns and stuff have to be eaten at the crack of dawn. No.
You sound like a crazy old man rambling.
I'm just trying to get us to the point where, that the people understand that
it's
that they're finally, there's people out there listening.
This is Patrick Stat Spore, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
That's so cool.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Solana.
Get your game on Spaceboy Universe. Level up with Spaceboy Universe. No quarters, no problems. Play it at Spaceboy Universe.
listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
Did you get that sandwich, Sir Lana?
What are you talking about?
Oh, never mind. Read the chat. Yeah, we take breaks here, believe it or not. That helps us to take care of business between as we go through the big show. And, we're heading down the home stretch here, Sir Lana. The last few minutes of the show. And
I just wanted to say, Bob mentioned in chat, when we're still talking about, late night talk shows and it being dead, he said the best one was Late Late Show Craig Ferguson. And I was like, yes. Amen, brother. He finally got into that whole deal, and at some point you could tell he's like, I've had it with this crap. He went and got him. Or maybe he had Grant Imahara from the Mythbusters build him a robot sidekick, and it said canned phrases, for a while. So he was trying to say that the whole idea of having a sidekick on a talk show is just stupid, So after a while, they let the guy who voiced it and operated it actually talk and ad-lib. And it turns out the guy, Josh Robert Thompson, who was the voice of Jeff the Robot, Jeff Peterson, is brilliantly funny. And when the first night they let him go as Jeff Peterson and wing it, Craig cried. He was bent over his desk, giggling, crying, and he was red-faced. And it wasn't anything particularly funny. He just got really tickled. And that was like the funniest thing anyone had seen on that show. So from then on, they let, quote unquote, Jeff just go for it. And after that point, they had, the little pantomime horse, the guy in the horse suit, two guys in the horse suit, become part of the show as well. And they kept giving him more money, and they kept giving him more. But at some point, he finally did get fed up with the whole thing, and he just said, I'm done talking blankety blank to celebrities. So I guess he got out before his soul got messed up, So I still enjoy going back on YouTube and looking at old clips of the Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson, especially when he put Jeff in there. And the night he had Larry King on, he had Larry King come on and be the voice of Jeff the Robot. That made Craig cry for the wrong reasons. And then he'd have little this is before the lip sync battle thing. He would do little lip synced musicals before, and then the puppets. Thing. Oh God, the puppet things with Wavy, the Wavy Ranchero, the Gator, and Sid, the cussing rabbit puppet.
He had the horse.
Secretariat.
Secretariat is like, one of those outfits where two people get into
it's a pantomime horse.
So that was funny.
The one where he had this cold open, where he was doing a puppet of the Gator and the rabbit, and the Gator had a southern kind of Cajun accent, and Sid was supposed to be, I guess, like Sid Vicious. He had sort of a Cockney English accent. And it was high-pitched, whereas Wavy was a little lower, slower, and southern. And he was doing both puppets, and he was trying to go back and forth. And he's not a voice actor, and he got a little messed up. And he had the Gators like, why don't you talk for a little while? And it was just so brilliant. He said he did not want David Letterman's show. They guaranteed it to him that he would be the successor if he wanted it. He said, I don't want that attention. I don't want that pressure. I don't want that scrutiny. And I don't want that criticism. I think he got out before his show was really about to launch into popularity. And I think he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so they gave it to that English guy. And I've not watched it since. Nothing against the English guy.
He's got his moments, and like when he does his little bit is the karaoke in the car thing.
Now he fits perfectly into this new way of entertainment where things are bite-sized and viral.
Right.
So it probably was a good move on CBS's part.
Him and Jimmy get it. They
both Jimmys.
Yeah, both
Maybe not Kimmel as much.
No,
I don't like Kimmel.
No, I'm not. Kimmel, throw him out the airlock. I don't care. But the Jimmy
Kimmel's one of those
Jimmy
guys.
Fallon, and I'm trying to think of his name. God, I can't think of his.
Kimmel, I want to punch him in the face. Let's just put it that way.
But those two have it, and they have the formula. They're hip. They're into it.
On my list of celebrities I'd like to punch in the face, Kimmel's on there. What celebrities would you like to punch in the face if you could? People in the chat.
I've never really given it some thought, but
you want to punch.
I know there's somebody out there I would just love to punch in the face.
Oh yeah. Well, I have more personal people in my life I'd like to do it, but I'm talking about celebrities. So we won't get personal.
You went down the celebrity route, so
I know somebody
who else?
that knows me.
Oh, I know.
They don't know how badly I want to punch them.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes, she needs a fat lip right now, I tell you.
I have no problem with her, but you just don't like her.
She's a fat lip right now. I'll give it to her. Don't nobody touch Jennifer. She's mine.
I honestly wished I could think of an actor that just gets my goat, and there, Gene, you got it. I'm going to give you 2 gold stars tonight. Is it Colbert?
Colbert.
No, not Colbert.
That's what he put, Colbert.
Yeah, he put Colbert, but it's in the other guy's name starts with a C. You've got the access to the interweb there. Who is the late night for CBS?
That is Colbert, Stephen Colbert.
No, I'm not.
Late Show is Stephen Colbert.
I'm not talking about that show.
Late Show is James Corden.
James Corden.
That's the English guy I was telling you
about.
Yes,
but I did not know his name. You didn't say his name. I used to be a big fan of Colbert, but it goes into that thing where I'm there to watch something funny, to uplifting, and through the course of the day, I've already gotten my dose of political crap.
That's what he's known for.
No, he's kind of taken it a step further, and I could just do without. Jimmy Fallon doesn't do it. James Colbert. James.
There's no James.
What's his name then again? I just said James what?
I don't know. I've already lost the thread of this.
The point is that when I'm going to watch something, you know what? I know another person that you would want to punch in the face, and that's Chelsea Handler.
Oh, man. Well, I think she's kind of punched herself in the face, metaphorically. There's a lot of people that don't like her, too. I like the fact that there's people that don't like her. I like that.
Well,
that and Amy Schumer.
Well,
Although I think Amy could probably take me. She's scrappy.
But anyway, so I'm naming characters that you could easily punch in the face that you
if I can run fast enough away.
Well, you just one good jab into the face or into the throat. It's all over from there. But I can't think of an actor that just. That comes to mind that I really despise, or I can't watch, or I can't think of anything. But there are actors that I do like. I do like the Morgan Freeman.
I don't care about who you like. It's not as interesting. Here's an interesting question: what was your gateway into geekery? And I'm guessing for me, it was Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's like once I watched Star Trek: The Next Generation, I got into Red Dwarf, and it just sort of exploded from there.
You're telling me you didn't get into geekdom until the 80s?
Yes. Late. Probably the 90s. No, it was actually the 90s because it was reruns.
Because, in the 70s, when Star Trek went into syndication... the original series, that's when I got into it, and then Star Wars came out in the movies.
I watched Star Wars. I wasn't into
it. All bets were off, and but I used to watch, I guess, some other, but I owe my nerdom to space stuff like that, sci-fi, to Star Trek, the original series.
Or could you argue it, my entry gateway drug was actually Doom and Wolfenstein?
Okay, that's video games.
It's geeks. It's nerd culture.
Well, the whole 80s was the early 80s, 92.
I'm not talking about how did you get into sci-fi. They're saying, how did you get into geeky
once
stuff?
again, would you let me finish? You always assume that I'm going to go down one way, and I'm going down another way. 1982 was the heyday of video games, of arcade games that you could go and play. And since you said your little arcade thing, take your pick: Joust, Pac-Man, Mappy, Donkey Kong. Oh, I love me some Donkey Kong. Those rocked during those times, and that's my introduction to geekdom in as far as that. I mean, we had an Atari 2600, we had a Pong system, we had an Intellivision. We didn't have an Odyssey. You had an Odyssey, but I had a cousin that had an Odyssey that had Casey Munchkin.
That's what I had,
and which was fun to play. And but yeah, it just that's my geekdom into gaming.
Well, I'm just saying, what was it that got you into it? It could be anything that's in the geek world, not necessarily one thing or one type of media. So. Well,
I was born a geek. I mean, I was tailor-made to be.
I don't think I was.
No, I don't think so either.
But when I displayed those tendencies, nobody stopped me. Nobody said, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that."
Yeah, you wore dresses, high heel shoes, and
I did when I was a teenager.
Your puffy hair and
it was the 80s, baby.
80s, and
what could we do? We all suffered.
Well, you could have had your hair styled like the guy from General Public, and splotchy orange spots all over your hair. And
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I'm just talking about the 80s. People were kind of hip that way.
Nobody was hip in the 80s, dear.
Oh, babe, I was hipster before any hipster came along.
Bless your heart for thinking that.
As a Southerner, I know what you're saying, and I don't know what to tell you other than I feel like, why do you have to go there?
I'm desperately looking for content as we slide into the
So pecan or pecan?
Pecan.
Pecan.
Or pecan is just that's almost inbred right there.
Pecan pie.
That's just wrong.
I don't have a problem with either one because pecan. It's almost like you're saying, "Hey, getting me some pecan pie." Now,
I'm just like, keep that to yourself because that's nasty.
What? Now, it is the most delicious treat you can have. No. I don't even see how you're a Southerner because you don't like you don't like Southern things.
That's not true. I like catfish.
Yeah, but catfish.
Grits and sweet tea.
When did you start eating grits?
I don't remember.
Because I think it was like you came here to Texas and you said, "Oh, what's that? That looks good."
I think Leanne made them. She makes some darn good food, especially grits.
But the thing is that I question your Southern card.
So, there's a Walking Dead season 9? How many seasons are they going to do? When are everybody going to die and be done with it?
Well, they just finished season 8, so they've renewed it for season 9, and right now what's going on is Fear of the Walking Dead, the other show.
Oh.
Yeah, see, why are you going to bring up zombies when you hate zombies in the first place?
So it gives you a chance to talk so I can finish my book?
Well, the thing, you writing a novel over there?
I'm reading a book.
God dang it, woman. We got a show to do. Yeah, this is no
I
more.
can do 3 things at once.
No, you cannot. No more doing the studio in the living room from now on.
I do more in the studio because you can't see what I'm doing.
Yeah, but you're more interactive with our people out there.
I'm interacting. Am I not interacting with you?
I don't know if you're a robot or not over there. Hello, I am Solana. This is the show. Excuse me for a minute while I read from a documentary.
Amazon is launching their own subscription box for kids.
Okay, what are they going to send the kids?
I don't know, but it's going to be $23. That's a kind of steep. Prime Book Box, monthly book subscription service for kids. Receive a box of 4 board books. I'm guessing that's hardcover. Picture books or novels for ages 3 to 12.
You know, I kind of miss Loot Crate.
Yeah, but they're,
Yeah.
What's the name of the thing we watched on Netflix? It was animated in Japanese.
I don't know.
Agretsuko?
Probably that's as close as you can get it to.
It says Netflix's Agretsuko show is a shockingly insightful portrait of feminine rage. I just think it's interesting that this is produced by the company called, if you know it, Sanrio. What do we know Sanrio for? Sanrio brought us Hello Kitty.
Do you want to tell the audience real quick about the premise of the show?
This is an animated show on Netflix. It's about a cute little red panda woman. I guess she's about 25 in our age.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a dead-end job as an accountant with a terrible boss that's a pig, and she's a kind of a goody two-shoes. She always stays late, gets her job done. She's very dedicated, overworked, but she has a secret. She likes to do death metal karaoke.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how she blows off steam. So, that's the character Guritama, which is an egg yolk. Agretsuko, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, is a 10-episode in an animated series. It's on Netflix. It's on there right now. We watched a few subtitles, but you found it in English.
Well, the first episode played in Japanese, and then all of a sudden it started playing in English. And I don't know how that, what.
Yeah, it's really weird. They were actually speaking in English. They're saying that this show is impressive for its refreshingly accurate portrayal of working women in Asia, especially their pent-up rage in response to the ways they're expected to perform in society. Now, when we watched it, it was sort of odd because it would show her character having to get her boss tea, and when they get tea, they get hot. The rest of the world gets tea, they get hot tea. If you get tea here in America, you're getting iced tea.
Mm-hmm.
So she has to go get her boss tea, and she has to pour it a certain way, and that's part of her job functions, which is very odd, but that could just be, that's their culture,
Mm-hmm.
It comes, like I said, this is from Sanrio, which, of course, they're famous for Hello Kitty. So, Agretsuko is the polar opposite of Hello Kitty, frenzied. She gets, angry, and her eyes glow, and she's doing her death metal. The word Agretsuko is a portmanteau for aggressive Retsuko. Her name is Retsuko. Her boss is sexist, orders her to bring him tea because it's a woman's job. He scolds her because she doesn't pour beer correctly, which should be always poured label side up. It shows a lot of the gender inequality in their workplace, the wage gap, the low percentage rate of female corporate executives, the misogyny in Asia runs deep, societal norms that expect childcare to be women's work. I picked up on some of this on the surface, but I didn't see quite as much because we haven't watched every episode. Didn't see it went quite this deep. So I think might watch more of it. I think it might be an interesting look into their society.
Well, Solana, we've reached that point of housekeeping. So do you want to tell the space cadets out there what to look forward to?
Well, the biggest thing is ComicPalooza. I cannot stress this enough. We'll be there, you know, Spaceboy willing that he keeps all his parts together. Well, we should have a booth there. Unless he absolutely falls into a million pieces. But the exciting thing this year is that we are going to be part of the official ComicPalooza podcast. And I think I might be getting some information on that soon, and I'll get to tell you more in case you happen to be in Houston. I think everybody should just get on a plane and come down here and just be a part of everything and maybe even help us out. Because you're going to miss out. Now, ComicPalooza is going to be this month, the end of the month. It is May 25th, 26th, and 27th. So, if you're in Houston, do come by. Do check us out. We will be there. I don't know what the next week's show is going to look like because we keep having crazy things happen to us. So, as soon as I can figure something out, I'll let you know. And what else is going on? We will also be at Houston Maker Faire, but that is in October. So we are going to keep you on that. Now, if you go to spaceboyuniverse.com, you can see more about this. We should have links to ComicPalooza's site, which is ComicPalooza.com, and links to Houston Maker Faire. If you want to go ahead and start purchasing tickets for both events, now is the time. And we'll just keep you updated as we know more. I'll try to get that information on social media and on the website as I find out more about when and where we shall appear. And keep watching social media for health status for Spaceboy Universe. If we need to have an intervention or if we need to have a wake, I'll let you know.
Okay, that sounds good, Solana. So join us next week, my friends, when we will talk about the universe. So make sure to explore it with your two favorite astronauts, Spaceboy and Solana. I hope you have a good evening, and we will see you out in the universe.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Solana. Executive producer is Solana. Social media producer is Dennis Koch. Associate producer is Lee Ann Cordes. Music production is Spaceboy of SpaceboyMusic.com. Special thanks goes out to Lee Ann K28, Solars Blue Raven, Patrick Spurrier, Dino, Bob and Beverly M. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. Support the universe by exploring Spaceboy Universe with Spaceboy and Solana. Sweet dreams, Space Cadets.